Good day, everyone. Students, today we are going to learn story writing from a given beginning. Now, before I begin, I would just like to tell you a few things. This particular piece of text I have taken from your English Prose Lesson 2 of Standard 5, the lesson Daydreams. And now, let's see how we are going to develop a story out of the given text. Once there lived a couple who spent a lot of time in idle talk. One day, the husband said, "I have always wanted to keep cows. If by chance I get some extra money from somewhere, I'm going to buy few cows. That means a lot of work. You have to feed the cows, walk them, bathe them, milk them. Lot of work looking after. There's no need to buy more cows," said the wife. "But think of the milk we'll get if we buy more cows," said the husband. "That's true," the wife agreed. "There will be so milk that we can have plenty of dahi and butter and ghee." The wife started daydreaming. Wouldn't it be lucky? How lucky that I have all these earthen pots kept aside. Again the wife exclaimed. "I will use the earthen pots for milk, dahi, and one for butter." "The ghee I will put in another jar, and I'll use the remaining pot to send milk to my sister." Now, students, this particular story, you have read it in your 5th standard textbook. It's the second topic of your English Bharati. From here, you will continue to give a different ending to this story. I'm going to quickly discuss the guidelines for story writing. Determine your setting. Choose a setting for your story. Make your characters memorable. Give a plot for your story. Plan a plot. Recreate a natural dialogue. You've seen here, I have shown you in this pictorial story the dialogues, the conversation between the husband and wife. Try to create it in that way. Bring excitement in the story. Bring suspense. You've seen I have just shown you half the story. So try to create that excitement that your viewers are interested in the next part of the story. Try to create that suspense. Make it interesting so that the reader feels like reading your story. Fluency in your language and your thought. Your language should be fluent and there should be a flow of thought. Good choice over your vocabulary you should have. Correct punctuations are required. Your grammar should be perfect. And construction of sentences. What is construction of sentences? Framing of sentences. Make your writing a flow. There should be a flow. There should be a continuity in your writing. Focus on the character's development. Find the balance in the type of sentence that you use. Try to balance the types of sentences you are using. Select a unique opening line. The opening should be unique. It should be different. Something like a "one fine day," or don't make it that boring. Plan your ending in advance. Try to include turning point or climax in your story wherever required. Now here I have drawn a concept map for your students. Before writing your story, you can just roughly in your rough books plan out something like this, the main idea. And it is in this way. What happened first? Maybe what would be the first thing that happened in your story? Then what happened next? What happened third? And how did your story end? Something here you could scribble it out, before you fare up your story. And jot down these main ideas in this way with the help of this concept chart. Again, There's one more concept chart before you. Plan how many characters you want in your story. Currently, I've only used two characters in my story, husband and wife. Setting: the husband and wife are having an idle talk, just in a house. In setting, you could choose some geographical factors, some climatic conditions, maybe uh, some physical environment you can talk about. Choose some settings for yourself. Choose characters that you require in your story. Then, problem. Just jot down roughly in this concept map or in your rough book somewhere. If the story you encounter some problem, just jot it out while you're planning your story. And then what will be the solution to that problem? Now the story I have ended in the half the way. Well, how do you think the husband and wife is going to end up with the discussion? What solution will they come up with? That you have to plan it out. And here is a rubric, or here is a scoring sheet on which your teacher will judge you. The introduction, that is the narration part, the narrator's part. The narrator or the character are not clearly introduced in the event. There's a lack of sequence. You may lose your marks. Narrator or the characters are introduced clearly, but there is lack of organization. You have not organized it carefully, properly. The characters are somewhat unclear. The role of the character is not defined by you well. The events are not coming in a logical sequence, maybe. You lose your marks. The situation that you tried to establish, half the way you've lost the touch with it. Establish a narrator or characters introduced. The sequence of events organized and unfolds naturally. If you have done all these things well, accordingly you will get your marks. Technique. What technique have you used of narration? Narrative techniques such as dialogue. As you've seen in my story, I've come up with dialogue. The story can also be descriptive. The spacing is missing. You could use a narration of dialogues, or you could use a descriptive method of narrating your story. Some narrative techniques are used but may be inconsistent. You are not consistent with the way of your narration, or the flow of the thoughts or the message that you want to give through your story is not coming accurately. Narrative techniques such as a dialogue, description, spacing used, experience, events shared by you, responsible of the characters, all are good. You get your marks. Transition. Now what is transition? Transitional words are missing. There is no clear sequence of events. Transitional, there are certain words, maybe you are not trying to put it across before your viewers. Some transitional words used may be inconsistent, not matching with your story. They do not support the sequence of event. They do not support the event that comes up next in the story. There are lots of transitional words. There are lots of changes, varieties of words you've used. You've included phrases, you have included clauses, you have included proverbs maybe, and managed to bring the sequence of event effectively. Details. Sensory details, descriptive language is missing. Now sensory details is what? If you have seen in my story, I've even added pictures, which keeps your sensory organs attracted. You can see in the story where I started with it, I've included a picture of a husband and a wife. I've included the pictures of few pots, maybe the milk products that the wife is planning to sell out. So that are all the things that is required. Some details are descriptive languages used, but the event of the story remains unclear. The story is somewhere unclear. It is not managing to create the interest in the audience. There is concrete words used by you, phrases used by you. Sensory details are given by you very precisely. At the end, how do you conclude your story? The conclusion is missing or unclear. Conclusion is provided by you, but it does not match with the sequence of event. You have given a conclusion to your story, but it does not match with the sequence of event. The conclusion given by you, the narration given by you, experiences and events provided by you all fit into the story very well and perfectly. Then you score your marks. So this rubric I have shared with you so that it can help you to develop your skills of writing and your skill of narration, Your descriptive writing, your creative writing will flourish with this. Hoping you liked it. Have a nice day. Thank you.